I closed a $10 million deal at Google because I was able to successfully handle the objection, "We're all set on your competitor, AWS." That's the power of objection handling when done right. And in this video, I'm going to help you understand exactly how to respond to the 7 most common types of objections you're going to face in sales. So next time you get objections, you no longer fear the resistance, but you're able to turn those objections into meaningful conversations and massive deals. And a little teaser, stop trying to overcome objections. There's a better way. Let's get into it. The first type of objection is a pricing objection. It might come in the flavor of "you're too expensive" or "we don't have budget." Whether you're dealing with pricing objections or the following 6 objection types to come, you want to go with the objection rather than resist. You don't want to fight it, and you simply want to discover the truth of what's really going on with the prospect to understand if you can influence and shape their thinking and create an opening for a more meaningful conversation to see if there's an actual fit. So objection handling isn't really the best term because prospects don't want to be handled. You're not trying to force and overcome a prospect. You're trying to get on the same side of the table and have an honest, authentic conversation. So what does it look like to go with rather than resist the objection, "You're too expensive"? It might look like one of these 2 options. "I'm sorry, too expensive?" That's called a mirror, where you're parroting back what they said to you with a slight uptone at the end as if beckoning for more information. When you can hold the silence after and live in awkward, the prospect will share more information, and that opens up a conversation. Or another way to go with the objection is to say, "Yeah, we can be perceived as expensive." You're leaning in and you're getting on the same side of the table as the prospect. This creates the opening to discover a bit more. Here are some of the questions you're going to want to get to the reality of why they're hitting you with a pricing objection. Here are some of the questions you're going to want to ask to get to the bottom of what's behind this specific pricing objection. "John, what is it about our price that feels high? Is it the total price, paying all at once, or you're comparing us to other options in the market?" And if it's the last one, that's no problem at all. You'll also want to ask them, "Seems like you value price over quality and functionality," or insert whatever differentiator or business value that you offer. And finally, you'll want to ask them, "Other than price, is there anything else holding you back?" Between these 3 questions, you're trying to understand their point of reference. Are they comparing you to someone else in the market? You want to understand what they actually value and if there are things that they value other than price so that you could show them you meet those specific requirements and you can handle the commercial terms later. And you ultimately want to understand if there's anything else holding them back, whether it's a technical objection or something that you didn't think of. When you get it all out in the open, you actually have the chance to shift their perspective and create an opening for a potential meeting and partnership. Now, if they hit you with the second flavor of a pricing objection, such as "we don't have budget," you might want to try and use an accusation audit to guess why they don't have budget. You might go with the resistance, saying something like this: "Not a problem. Sounds like budgets are only going to existing vendors." You pause, live in awkward, and let them either validate that you were right or correct you. But by making an effort to put yourself in their shoes and hazard a guess as to why there aren't budgets, you earn some trust through tactical empathy. You're going to create an opening to explore the root of the objection further. From here, you might move the conversation in the following direction. "Thanks for being so transparent about your current situation, and I'm sorry if I came across as trying to persuade you in any way. That was not my intention. Mary, some people who don't have budgets at this time of year are using this as an opportunity to proactively review their options and stay ahead of the curve for when budgets do free up in the future. The call I'm proposing to connect with our resources is budget-free. There's no cost, just to see what your options are. It's an educational session and nothing more. Would you be open to that idea over the next couple of weeks?" Pause and let them talk. The second objection type is around authority. Imagine the prospect hits you with, "I'm sorry, but I'm not the decision maker." You want to respond to this by moving with the objection rather than resisting it. You might say, "I'm sorry, not the decision maker," with a slight uptone as if beckoning them to share more information. Again, this is called a mirror. "I also really like this option. It sounds like you don't make decisions on X issue. And in this case, you're going to throw in whatever critical issue your company is focused on solving. From there, you're going to say something like this to discover more. I know your job isn't to help lost salespeople like me, and I'm a little embarrassed to ask because I thought you were the right person, but who is the decision maker? This is a disarming way to approach things, and hopefully they open up and they give you a name. And if at minimum they give you a name, you're able to reference that name in the subject line of an email saying, spoke to so-and-so, or so-and-so referred me to you. And it's going to make it a lot more powerful, and the chance of that prospect, the right decision maker, responding to your email is going to skyrocket. And additionally, if you're selling in a very strategic role, like I used to sell at Google Cloud, where we had hundreds of tools and all types of solutions we could offer across data and AI and cybersecurity and cloud infrastructure modernization, by asking what is a bigger priority, you might uncover something that actually matters to the prospect right now that you can help with, and so you'll want to pivot to focus on that. The third objection type is around need, and it might come in the form of, we don't need this, or this isn't a priority. You want to start your response off on the right foot by going with the objection rather than resisting it, and it might sound something like this. That's okay, that's not a problem. Most of the time I call people this isn't a priority. Or you could say, sounds like you got a lot on your plate, and this isn't going to be a priority this year. In both cases, you want to pause and let them talk. From there, consider asking these 3 questions. What is a bigger priority? Do you think this will become more of a priority in the future? Is there anything that could happen that would bump this up the priority list? All you're trying to do when asking these questions is get to the truth. Why isn't this a priority? And is there anything that could change or that you could influence to help bump it up the priority list to make it a more pressing need? The fourth type of objection you're going to run into is around timing. Imagine the prospect says, it's just not the right timing, follow up in 6 months. You'll want to go with the objection rather than resist it by saying something like this. Okay, not a problem. I'd love to stay in touch for when the timing is right, and you can lean on me for proactive education in the meantime to help you understand the specific areas where we can make a positive business impact for you. But that said, just so I don't bug you prematurely, can you help me understand why specifically it's not the right timing? Maybe is it because you already have a solution in place getting the job done, solving for X issue isn't a current priority, or something else that I'm missing? I really appreciate your guidance as we look to build a long-term partnership. Whenever you get any flavor of I'm not interested right now, it's a pro move to use an accusation audit, which we talked about earlier, to hazard a guess of why the prospect isn't interested. You're deploying what's called tactical empathy and making an effort to put yourself in the prospect's shoes to guess why they're not interested and why it isn't the right timing based on what you've seen with the other prospects. By making that effort, you earn trust with the prospect, and they're more likely to volunteer more information about their current situation. And the best thing you can do when faced with resistance is earn trust to get more information and a greater understanding, because understanding is the gateway to influence and shifting perspectives. And we're sandwiching this accusation audit in the intention to stay in touch, educate, and build a long-term relationship, which reduces sales pressure and shows a strategic approach. The fifth objection type has to do with trust and credibility. Imagine the prospect says to you, I've never heard of your company, why should we work with you? You might start out by going with the objection rather than resisting it by saying, although we do work with some big names in your specific industry, I don't want to jump to conclusions and assume we're a fit for you, because we're not a fit for everyone. That lowers sales pressure because you're not convincing, and then you can say something like this. Would you be opposed to spending some more time together to better understand your needs, to see if we can be an option for you? Because again, I don't want to assume. Or you could say something like this. We do have reasons that customers choose us, but I don't know which are most relevant to you without having a conversation to understand what actually matters to you. So would you mind helping me understand that? What we're doing here, instead of jumping to conclusions, is allowing the prospect to shape their own answer to why we're going to be the best fit for them. In other words, their hands are on the sales murder weapon. The sixth type of objection has to do with competition. Imagine the prospect hits you with, We're already happy with our current solution in place. We're working with a competitor. At this point in the video, you get the framework. You're not going to be surprised that we start out with going with the objection rather than resisting it. You might say, "Oh, that's not a problem. Sounds like you're happy with them. How's that working out for you?" Zip the lip, live in awkward, and let them talk. And then from there, you say something like this. "I'm curious, would you be open to exploring your options beyond what you have in place today, just so you have us in your back pocket as an insurance policy for the future?" You can also ask a powerful question like this. "Would it be crazy to see if we can complement what you have in place today in terms of getting you more results in specific areas where your current vendor isn't able to? Not for now, but just so you can see your options for the future." And finally, you can ask a question like this. "I know it's not your job to assist salespeople, but when is your current vendor up for renewal? Maybe it makes more sense for me to reach out at that time to see if you're open to reviewing your options then." When it comes to dealing with a competition objection, it's important to accept that a lot of your prospects have a competitor in place getting the job done, and pressure's created when you make it seem like you want to rip and replace that competitor and make them make a massive shift when you just met them. The key is to reduce pressure and show you're not trying to get them to rip and replace everything, and to show that you might be able to augment and amplify their current solution, help them get results in specific areas that they can't today, addressing specific gaps, and ultimately that you want to increase their options and reduce risk. One thing you can even position is your ability to help give them negotiating leverage when their renewal comes around if they look at an alternative solution like yours. The seventh type of objection is a procrastination objection. The prospect says, "Let me think about it. I need to do some more research." You'll start out by going with the objection and addressing the elephant in the room. "Jim, it sounds like there's some hesitation in your voice." Pause, live in awkward, and let them share. Then I'd follow up with something like this. "I fully support that you want to think about it and do some more research, and the last thing I want to do is rush your decision, but I would love to help support you in the education process by sending you relevant information. So I'm curious, just so I don't flood your inbox with irrelevant information, do you mind if I ask you a couple quick questions to better understand your actual needs, so I send you tailored educational resources?" From there, you're going to ask some thoughtful questions to qualify if they're an actual fit to help and what they care about, so that when you follow up, you make that follow-up count. All right, guys, now you understand the 7 most common types of objections and exactly how to handle them like a professional and respond in a way that creates an opening for more meaningful conversations, more meetings, and more pipeline and money in your pocket. Go put these to the test, get better results, and celebrate your victories in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more prospecting videos that are going to help you master outbound and up-level to your next promotion. And make sure to share this video with other people in your peer group who you think could benefit from the message. Now, if these 7 objections and example responses aren't enough for you and you want more, then check out my free cold calling system linked in the description of this video that has a total of 15 objection examples and exactly how to respond, along with cold calling mindset and 3 example cold call scripts from A to Z, from opener to setting the meeting. And if you're an SDR or account executive that knows that mastering outbound, crushing the phones, cold emailing, and LinkedIn social selling is key to hitting your metrics and making money, and ultimately you want to get promoted to the next level to maximize your career trajectory, consider applying for my 12-week coaching programs by booking time at my Calendly link linked in the description of this video. Not only will you work with me in a one-on-one personalized coaching capacity, but you'll also get access to my elite bench of coaches who are top sellers from my network that sell at companies like AWS, Oracle, Google Cloud, and top data and AI companies. We want to partner with you on your journey and help you win. So if you're ready to go, again, book time at my Calendly link linked in the description of this video. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of this growing tech sales community. I respect you for investing in your personal and professional development, and to your success in tech sales and in life. Happy selling and happy living, and we'll see you in the next one.